Hello, everyone out there. Whoo, child. Let's just say, welcome to, what is this called? Welcome to Intimate Conversations. I don't know what it's called because if y'all knew what I just had to go through, um, you all would actually laugh because what I realized, children will not let you be great at all. They do not care about anything that you have to do. All they do is care about themselves and what you can do for them. This child would not let me be great today. It is okay. I am here. I am waiting for our guests to come in. I am Dani Terrell. I am your host of Intimate Conversations by Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas. Hi, everybody. It has been a funny day already. If y'all knew like what this room looked like when I say that this child has destroyed my entire life right now, it is quite hilarious. And I think this is what I get. Hi, everybody. We are just waiting for our guests. And so while we wait for our guests to come in, just a few tidbits and things. We at Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas acknowledge that we are on land that is stolen from the traditional home of the Coast Salish people. The Duwamish ancestors were killed, brutalized, and stripped of their humanity. We lift up their work. We hold their pain and their joy as we honor them with our work today. Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas understands that we come from enslaved African people that endured countless acts of torture and humiliation during and after the Middle Passage. We bring into the space thousands of Africans that did not make it to see this land. The work we do today is on the backs and shoulders of the original people of this land and our ancestors who now guide us. We sit in this space to honor African people and their descendants and to give back to the original people of this land. We thank you to our ancestors. We thank you. We see you. We invite you into this space with us so that we can uplift your names and we honor you with our work today. Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas is a nonprofit organization solely dedicated to presenting emerging Black artists, and ideas in the Seattle area. We believe in the value of community, creativity, identity, and passion. These values serve as our strategic frame and guide our day-to-day operations and program decisions. All right, folks, I got through all of that. I need to make sure that our guest, there's our guest right there. I'm going to try to bring them into the space with us. Woo, child. I just, me and Mr. B decided to take our 22-month-old little one from his mom just so to give her a break. And he has taken us through the ringer. Look at that. See, Saira, I was about to get a nice little beat on because I knew what you were going to do. But as I've said before you got on, the little one did not allow me to be great. I tried real hard to throw a nice little, I was like, ooh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And that kid was like, no, you're not.
How old?
And 22 months. It was hilarious. I was just like, you know what? It's your show. Like, it is, yes. Some folks saying they can't see you. I can see you. I think, I can see you.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
Whew, today. Good, pretty good. Getting set up for the Sex Down South workshop that my partner and I are doing for Scum Trust, and that'll be on September the 10th, where we're talking about the histories of porn and like erotic art and how those two things have always been intrinsically linked with spirituality and ritual and humanity. And kind of also some like best practices for folks that want to shift their relationship with porn to be something that's a little more ethical, a little more sustainable.
See, you are starting already, and it was literally like some questions I had sent around porn. So we're gonna hold off for a second.
Okay.
Because you are starting already. And okay, so this is also one of my favorite people to talk to. We'll talk about that more. Yes. Okay. Saira is one of my favorite people to talk to. Seriously. I learned so much. And you're about to get your life. Anyway, I don't even know where I'm at because, where are we at? Okay, Black Love Looks Like. Y'all, I'm going to get it together. I had each guest for Intimate Conversations answer this question, this phrase in the way that they chose to, because this is something that I think we need to talk more about. Black love looks like, and this is Saira's response, Black love looks like patience, resilience, and innovation in the face of chaos. And Black folks are going through a lot of chaos right now. So those words are so beautiful. Patience.
Yeah, there's so much healing that's just starting to happen in my family lines. So something I didn't have when I was younger was a lot of patience for that. I was just like, let's get to those hard conversations. Let's do that intense thing. Right. Everyone's worried right now.
You're freezing for a little bit. There you are.
Like what?
It's okay.
So I think that as I've gotten older, I've realized that there are ways to kind of broach those intense things with people you care about that keep in mind actually where they're at, and not just like what I, as like an impatient Aquarius, want the end goal, the revolution of the conversation to be,
Right. Yeah, I love that. And we talked about this, last month or something like that, earlier this month, just about family lines and death and the idea of like the patience is the thing. And thank you for saying patience. I'm giving myself patience to grieve. Like you want grief to hurry up and to do this thing. And so like, thank you for that. You are a non-binary, trans, Black, queer, cane using multidisciplinary artist. You go by they, ze, she, he. Okay, so this is why I personally like talking to Saira and just love being in their presence. They're quiet, but they're not. That's a very powerful thing to hold. I think when you are quiet and not quiet, that is so much power behind that. And when you speak, I tend to just talk a lot. You speak and like the most important things come out. Yeah. And that is why I love talking to you, because I'm just like, oh, I didn't think about that. And you have a way of framing things to really shifts conversations and shifts the way people. That's my experience of you. And I really do appreciate that. That's such a balance. How do you balance that?
I am an introspective extrovert. I love being out in the world. I love being around people. I love showing off. And also I spend an insane amount of time just like cooking on things and thinking about things. Mm-hmm. And so I have spoken less and less as I get older. And I spend a lot of time observing and like listening and trying to really, really, not just hear what people mean to say, but hear what people like mean in the subtext of what they're saying.
Yeah.
So I found that the more I do that, the more the things that I'm moved to say are lightly to extremely challenging sometimes, but they're also what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that, and thank you for that. I think that's a lesson we all need to learn, and that's a lesson that I'm definitely learning. Once to just listen deeper and listen more, and exactly what do people actually mean to say underneath the meaning of what they're saying. and what am I actually trying to say? And I'm so excited to talk to you. I just like missed my like first question that I've been asking everybody. Y'all just don't understand. I'm so excited to talk to you. The very first question is,
Yeah.
let's go backwards. The first question is, um, who are you bringing into the space today, and what are you bringing into the space today? So the who, it could be yourself, it could be ancestor, what could be like excitement, joy, pain, love, whatever that is.
I would say I am bringing my very recent work around integrating excitement and grief.
Mm.
And I have been doing a lot of meditating this last week around all of the things I'm so excited about and all the things that I feel so much rage and pain and fear around, and trying to not have to like separate those feelings. So I'm bringing in my father, and I'm bringing in all of the good and the bad that I felt about him, and trying to hold all
Yeah.
at once. And in doing that, it's helping me try and just hold all the fractured facets of our current reality also. So that's
Right.
what I'm bringing into the space.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. You and I love that you're talking about excitement and rage. What are you excited about, and where's the rage? What are you raging about?
Well, I'm excited because Neve and I are producing our first like feature film together. That's going to be a live version of their stage show that we did last spring at Velocity. And so I love producing film. I'm like the most alive on a film set, and that's because it's where I have to fire on absolutely all cylinders. Everything is important, every detail is important, and I just love the amount of collaboration and communication you have to create a film. So I'm just feeling so energized and excited. I just hit up a good like old friend from Orlando who's a costumer. We went to school together, and I'm trying to see if she'll come up here. Her name's Constance. Shout out to Constance, like black best friend, like only other black femme in our costume design program. We were tight. Like thankfully we like loved each other and got along.
Yeah.
Both very like witchy spiritual people. So we've been tight for years, and I just was like, would you come to Seattle? Like what's going on? Would you come up here for a couple months? And their response was, I'm accepting all out of state invitations. And I'm just like
Yes.
so excited to like see that person and work with them again. And I'm angry at the ongoing madness and hypocrisy of mainstream politics. I'm angry at
Yes.
the kind of depression and resentment that comes from years of oppression, and the way that manifests in so many black men that I know, specifically in how it manifested in my father. And I'm angry at the fact that that was not something that specifically for he and I, we could ever find like a road to genuinely talk about. And right. I have a lot of anger and rage that I never found a way to try and like break down that wall and deconstruct what it was that was actually creating some of these like prejudices in him. That's where a lot of my rage is coming from, between fucking politics to like interpersonal grief.
I mean, and they are both extremely valid and real. And another reason, I think a lot of times you and I are on the same wavelength when you like we have these conversations and you say things. I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of there too. Like politics suck. Family's on an okay slope right now. Like we're on a okay like, you know. And I'm saying that knock on wood right now because you never know, that always changes. Yeah. How has your relationship with your family, especially your father, influenced your work as an artist?
I would say that so much of my kind of, at the basis level, like my high color, high contrast aesthetics come from this like, love that he and I had of like 60s and 70s comic book art and like early 90s things that had like puppetry as like just part of the world. And on a grander scheme, ancestor worship and community with Okphoebe, being the Wa family of the dead,
Mm-hmm.
have always been interwoven into what I like to show and how in the imagery that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning more and more about my family now with his death than I.
Mm.
It's interesting realizing some of the things I was drawn to and the images I have always created actually link into realities of my family that I didn't know about years ago.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's but at the basis level, it's the color, it's the pop, it's the bright light,
Mm-hmm.
the combination of something that feels very childish with something that feels kind of dark at the same time, and
Right.
those bits.
I love that. So you mentioned earlier that you're a filmmaker and Lovers of Low Creatures will be turned into a film. It was a stage version. Check out all of that soon. We at Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas are hopefully helping you all create some magic.
Yeah,
You're working with Neve, who is a beautiful artist here in the city. What is the importance of collaboration for you inside of your art?
oh god, yeah,
Inside of your life, forget about art. Inside of your life, let's make it wider than just art.
absolutely. I think that interdependence, like consensual interdependence, is the core to like strong and real community. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of informed, purposeful intertwining of people's lives is, you know, it takes a village, you know, to do anything.
Right.
And I think that collaboration is at the core of that. And then speaking specifically about film, like fuck anybody that claims to be like an auteur filmmaker. I did this all myself. Like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Even if it was
Yeah.
your, even if you wrote the script, you had to have someone else shooting it. You had to have other actors and creators in it. You had to have people making the props and the specificity of the world. So there is no such thing within film as like a genuine, I did this all by myself shit.
Right.
And I just think that part of the reconstruction that a lot of entertainment industries need is the like acknowledging of that and not the priority
Right.
of this is just a director's project, this is just this lead actor's project. It's like no,
Right.
a host of people that put their energy and their dreams and their artistic brain to the grindstone for this.
Exactly. I love what you just said. Something that I think about all the time is that people walk around and talk about they're self-made and they did this themselves. And I think about like we work really hard, but there are also other people in the spiritual realm, in the realm of like earthly folks walking around that's always there helping us out. And I'm always thinking like we are never self-made.
No, so
Like we work extremely hard, and I think in film, in dance, in any form of art, yes, it can be a solo project, but then there's always something around you helping you collaborate and move that project forward. You
absolutely.
know, and thank you for that. I think that's a lesson that a lot of artists, a lot of people just need to grasp hold to. It's like not taking away from your hard work as artists, as people, but you're not doing it alone.
Yeah,
You know?
I think people need to let go of that competitive spirit, right? That feeling of
Ooh,
if I did it
yes.
alone, then somehow it's not like valid. It's not going to be competitive. If I try and bring all these people with me, I won't be able to like ascend as fast.
Right.
I think that that is really hard, especially when you're taught as like a creator that you have to like be the best. You have to stand out the most, or no one's gonna care.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much for just bringing that into the space. I want to go back to what you started off with. You got us on a roll. The big taboo subject that no one talks about, but everyone somehow is involved in. Let's talk about porn. Yes, people. This is this is intimate conversation, so we're about to talk about intimate shit. Um, I don't even know where to start. I'm like, where do I start? Okay, let's start. Let's go back. You and your partner, let's catch people up. You and your partner are getting ready to do what? Oh, we Little
We
bit of a connection issue, but here it comes. That's okay. You know, when you there you are. Almost. There. Yes. Go. Okay.
Okay, so Sex Down South is an Atlanta-based sexual health and entertainment and kink conference. We went last year and we showed our first short film called A Sunday Hike, which is like a witchy 12 minutes is the full length, 5-minute cut of it showed at Hump back in 2017. And this year we're doing a workshop called The Purposes and Pleasures of Porn. And for that workshop, we are going to talk a little bit about the history of erotic media overall, and then we're going to specifically talk about the history of erotic cinema within America, and then ground that in kind of a conversation around best and better practices when you're indulging in the modern day, and how to kind of do that in what the most ethical is kind of the buzzword when you're talking about porn, right? But I think it's more about the most consensual and the most thoughtful way that you engage with that media, as you should engage with all media. Hi, Neve, I love you.
Yes.
People need to practice more kind of intentionality and consciousness with all media they engage in, especially porn.
Right. What are the misconceptions about porn in your opinion? Why is it so taboo? But it's like $1 billion industry.
Yes, it makes more it makes more money than like ABC, CBS, and NBC adult entertainment. It's so taboo because throughout time, different like religions and different kind of puritanical bodies have taken over parts of society. So it's like woodblock prints in Japan date back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And depending on who was in control, they were or weren't allowed to be viewed by the mass public. The rich have always been able to consume erotic media. And that's kind of the class thing that's been broken down with the internet, which is part of what makes it so taboo. It's like every time that some kind of technology made porn more accessible to the masses, suddenly there would be a backlash of trying to shut it down. And that's up to the 70s in California when they accidentally legalized hardcore porn, when they tried to put someone in jail for hiring porn performers under the guise of saying that they were being a pimp. And when that didn't work, suddenly hardcore pornography filming was legal in the US.
Okay. Well, again, this is why I like talking to Saira, because they bring like stuff that you just don't know about. So many things. What got you into saying like, I want to jump into adult entertainment, filmmaker, performer, artist? What was the thing that you're like, yes, this is for me. This is exciting for me to be involved in. And not just a viewer, not just a consumer.
Yeah, I always loved certain porn stars, and I've always loved when like looking at the choices of creators and like what they choose to do over time. And so when I started really enjoying porn, I was always looking for, now I know this language for it, but at the time I didn't know that I was looking for non-binary bodies. I was looking for narrative stories that had sex just woven into them. And so I got really into things like Deep Throat and like 70s blue films, that whole period of when like, people like the New York Times were actually reviewing adult films that were like going into theater. And then of course there was a puritanical backlash. And I wanted to do that, but in like a non-misogynistic way. Because something about Deep Throat is still so deeply misogynistic. It's got such a deep misunderstanding of like feminine sexuality. And so as I realized leaving college and like being like, I don't really want to do theater full time. I love making film, but the film that I want to make is like, it's like John Waters, but blacker and queerer and more like celebratory in its filth, and not like, wink, wink, isn't this gross? Like I wanted the grossness of like fun and exciting and like part of the story. And that's when I just accepted that like I'm gonna make NC-17 R-rated, X-rated films more than I want to do anything. Oh, and during college, I would like seek out every NC-17 film I could find that was in theaters. So
Yeah.
hard for those movies to get into theaters because of
Right.
the MPA. So I just realized that this is a whole sector of media that's been deeply censored for so long. And places like Italy have a much more understanding of like erotic film as just a genre and not something that needs to be suppressed. And so
Hmm.
I want to do that for American independent film, to acknowledge that like erotic film can just be a genre of independent film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. What is the excuse me? What is the importance of adult entertainment porn for all? Because
Well,
again, just go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that like acknowledging that adults need continuing sex education,
Mm,
adults need continuing sexual exploration and inspiration, and that just
hmm.
because you 21, 25 doesn't mean you know everything about yourself sexually.
Hello.
And I think it's a huge myth, the idea of like that's part of adulthood, is that like now you just know what you like and you're done exploring. I don't think that's true. And I think that porn could and should be a place to continue that conversation of like, what are you interested in? What like titillates you? What is the role play that you could do
Right.
later? For adults, should be a playground within cinema.
And through our conversations, I have not seen any of your movies. I want to see them.
I can
Just
help you with that.
saying. I do want you to know I will purchase whatever needs to happen. Um, Let me commercial break for a second. Speaking of purchase,
Yeah, yeah.
I have pinned Saira's information Cash App. So you're getting educated right now. Part of your college education, your continuous college education. Saira is giving that to you right now. So if you go to Okphoebe Cash App, $ Okphoebe, capital OKPHOBE, and you just drop them some cash because you are seriously getting educated right now. I'm just saying, if you want to, like, yo, Saira, you got some movies out there.
I
I
do.
need to like purchase some porn because I want to see what you're up to. Hit up Saira on all the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram. We will make sure that Saira gives that information out.
Yes. If you want to
I'm
stream
saying yes, thank
if
you. Go ahead.
you want to stream some Scum Trust, head over to Pink Label TV. We've got two of our most recent films up now, and I'm working on packaging and getting all those like nice covers together to get the rest of ours. We've made 7 short films in the last 3 years, and we're getting them all out into the world now, slowly and surely.
So again, because you're getting educated right now, money, and you're gonna get some other education once you go to Pink Label.
Pink Label TV. So the folks that do Crash Pad made a streaming site for porn, and they've got vintage porn, they've got current queer porn. If you want to know where to get your porn and pay for it and get all these different options like you like, Pink Label TV.
There, I even said it. Pink Label TV. Now we're done with that commercial break. Back to the scheduled program. You create work that is inclusive of all bodies and genders, um, that we normally and we have not seen in adult entertainment. And I'm going to go back to that question that I had earlier. Why is that important? In case people don't know or don't understand why it's important.
I mean, the landscape of who is allowed to have fantasy, who is allowed the time and
Hmm.
to create worlds of just like pure pleasure and hedonism has to be expanded, because
Right.
erotica has always been for the rich, has always been historically for, in America, white people. Seeing Black, brown, disabled, trans, queer, non binary bodies experiencing pleasure, experiencing fantasy, I think is incredibly important in just including us in all of the rounds of society and the rounds of
Right.
the collective imagination.
It's something, yes, and it's something that you said about that the accessibility to anything centers on those that are rich, those that are white. Um, and it's so I'm glad that you said that. It's like even when we look at adult entertainment and erotica and porn, we get so shamed by it,
Yeah.
our indulgence of it, that if you are rich, it was meant for you. And now that everyone else can enjoy it, we're hiding it away. But it was being hidden from us. Again, you just dropping gems, you just dropping those. And everybody, however you live in your body, deserves pleasure, deserves to be pleasured.
Yes.
And that is the beauty of what you do. It's like there's no label in who needs and who should be pleasured, who should be seeking pleasure. Um, when we talk about sex and sexuality, you invite those things into your work in the adult entertainment arena, and you're also a burlesque performer. Is that correct? I want
to.
yeah, and again, it's just talk about like the importance of, and for me, I'm stressing that because I deconstruction. How do we deconstruct our mind of who has access to things and who deserves things? Talk about the importance of your role inside of burlesque and the parties that you throw. Also, it's so much. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm just like, I want to talk to you about everything, and I want everybody to know everything. That is the only reason I'm so all over the place, because Saira just excites me. So go.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a through line when we talk about the porn I make, the burlesque performances I do, and the nightlife that I help organize, is that it's all about creating space for multiply marginalized people to feel ownership over their own pleasure. Because too often in all of those it's just about white moneyed people consuming people that are not those things. And
Right.
even looking at how, as like a pornographer and a sex worker, how I have to label myself in some cases to even get attention from people that want to purchase things from me. I have to make the choice of, do I use words like ebony and know that that's going to create a expectation and a certain kind of clientele to find me, or use that word and just deal with not getting as much traffic, with not getting as much like buyer energy, but those buyers that use the word ebony are maybe not the buyers I want. And same thing for performing in certain nightlife spaces where it's like, yes, I will make tons of tips if I work here, here, and here, and also deal with way more ableism. I will deal with way more racism. I will deal with a lot more trans misogyny. And so when I create events, when I create porn, when I create performance, it's about trying to just indulge for the sake of my own indulgement, yeah, and to create space around myself that allows other people to indulge in the same way. And that's what I love about the Night Crush Go-Go crew, is that it's all about being on performers where it's like you do something sensual and beautiful with your body when you perform, like, and we all deserve to like honor that.
Yes. Night Crush, I forgot when was the last one I went to, but probably whatever happened before the pandemic, whatever the last Night Crush was, probably the one I went to. And Neve, yes, Neve, Cyrus Excitable. Neve was performing. You had Deja perform. You yourself performed. And again, it was such an affirming space. And something clicked with me. Again, if you don't live in a body that is marginalized, you tend to forget the importance of affirming spaces and how you need to step back and step out of that. And it was so beautiful to watch. And it was so, and I want to say Muñeca maybe performed also. It was, yeah, Marquise was DJ. I don't know. It was just, that night was just like, I was in the corner just dancing. I was in the corner just getting my life. Um, Again, I'm just going to talk about the importance because you are someone, you and the team of people are doing the work of these spaces that are affirming. And was that a struggle to create in Seattle, a space that was affirming to the people that you wanted to affirm and needed to uplift? And I'm not going to say needed to, but wanted to uplift and be in the space. Was that a struggle when you first started?
I was really lucky in connecting Night Crush like real quick when I got here. That was one of my first nightlife gigs. But in doing other events, absolutely. I've been kicked out of spaces because they were okay with the event. And then when, I show up, all my fucking like trash femme wild friends show up, they were
Right,
expecting like money Bravo gay crowd when I said queer people. And then all of these like black and brown punk queer trans people, exactly.
right.
Like, these are not my clientele. Everyone get out. Like, that's happened to me 2 hours into an event. So
Whoa.
I have definitely experienced the kind of entire range of that, where it's like I hit the Night Crush party when I had only lived here for like less than a month, maybe.
Hmm.
And someone came up to me at that and was like, "Why aren't you doing for us?" And I was like, "I just moved here." And so I got that gig. And then Aaliyah Kehelani, excuse me, gave me their confidence when they left town to like keep it going. And I feel so fucking excited to like imagine where it's gonna go from here. Um,
Yes.
yeah, in my own independent events, I've definitely had to deal with did outdoor events for 3 years in a row. I did like summer park parties that were featuring
Hmm.
all day lineups. And I think I had to deal with the cops when those were happening, even though
Hmm.
I had permitted like with the city, it was considered an active protest. Um, but we had the cops called on us by sometimes like white queer people who
Right.
just, I don't know anybody who spends the summer being like, I don't want to hear music. Like, what are you? Why
Yeah.
would you even feel that way? There's the event.
Okay. I didn't go, but I remember. Yeah. I'm old, so sometimes I'm just like in the house, rocking in my chair, like I'll go out with you young people soon. Um, you are a disabled person. You advocate greatly, you and Neve, for the disabled community. And I say Neve because Neve's commenting, and I'm like, yes, Neve, comment, come on. Um, and non-binary, trans, queer, all of these things that you bring to the table. What is it that you think generally society is missing? When you are bringing your
I,
full self to the table, what are people missing?
I think people are missing an appreciation for intersectionality.
Mm, mm,
I think that people are missing the kind of wisdom that comes with having to battle in different ways, big and little, every day just to survive. And I think
right.
that there's a certain kind of intelligence considered the best or like the most useful or the most. And I think that people are missing how tightly interwoven with capitalism their whole value systems are.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. We got you. Uh-oh. There you are. There you are. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for that answer. Again, everybody, I'm all over the place because this person brings out so many different thought processes about what's going on in my head. I had like a list of questions that I'm like, I didn't even get to half of those because we started talking about other things. Um, Only because you are just the way you think. It really is beautiful to me, and I just every time you open your mouth, I'm just like, well, damn, like it's one of those things that I think if people don't understand your power, they need to understand your power. And that is why I'm so always all over the place because you get my mind like racing and like, wait a minute, oh my God, I feel stupid. I didn't know that. Like it's just so many different things. Um, One of the questions that I did want to ask you before we wrap up our time, which I'm just like, more time. Um, what is the one thing that you look for in friendship?
Look, friendship. Well,
Yeah.
I told Neve I'm in love with you too. Um, I look for the ability to sit in discomfort with one another.
Mm.
And I look for like a questioning but confident nature.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Like the combination of those things. Like, can we ask questions together of one another? And
Right.
can we acknowledge when we don't know things? Can we acknowledge when we're unsure? Can we acknowledge when we're uncomfortable without it creating
Mm.
some kind of like ripple effect in how we see one another?
Yes. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Um, as you can see, one of the reasons Saira's here because again, the way that Saira's brain works, the compassion that comes out, the thoughtfulness that comes out, they're educating us. So again, Cashapp is $ Okphoebe. Just saying. You can go to Pink Label TV. Just saying. So they can continue to create the work. I was going to let this slip because I was just so excited about everything else. Saira is coming back for their second round of showing out with us. Do you want to give them like a real smidgen of what is in your brain about showing out?
Sure. Okay, so as a non-binary person, I'm really excited that I got to do a piece about masculinity, and now I'm getting to craft a piece about femininity. And I think I am really excited that Neve and I are exploring movement together for the first time and what our kind of movement language is. So to give you like the smallest snippet, ballet and the restrictiveness of femininity and the formalness of femininity and testing if those things can all fit in my body is
Mm.
a challenge that I'm playing with.
I love it. Thank you. Y'all just get a little taste. If you want to know more, we're doing 3 different versions of showing out. And you'll get to see this piece that they are creating evolve into something else.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be. I'm excited to see what it's going to be. That's yeah, you excite me every time you're on stage and you're working with Neve, so it's going to be like this powerful thing that's just going to go like that. I know that. And you're working on Lovers of Low Creatures. Neve, that is created, choreographed by Neve. It's going to be a film version of that. It's just you, and that's just a small part of your year, correct? That's just a
Yeah.
tiny. And you
Yeah.
and your partner are doing a workshop.
Doing a workshop with Sex Down South in October. We'll be doing our next Porn for Freaks with the Northwest. We're finishing up our first season of a fan fiction podcast that we've been doing because I love fan fiction. I'm a big nerd. I love talking about sex in all kinds of like forms. So I think fan fiction is a really interesting space to play with modern media and like basically play with it, which is hilarious to me.
You know, if you want to look, what's your Instagram handle so folks can just follow you?
Oh, of course.
Uh-oh. Hold on 1 second. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Back. The
Okay,
podcast.
there you are.
The podcast.
Yes.
There are about 6 episodes out so far. We've been on a little break because the world is wild. But it's called Freaky Tales 4, number 2. And we have read 6 different stories. My partner and I swap off reading, and then we bring people on to discuss the kink, the fandom, the actors that play those characters. My handle is very.freaky on Instagram. It's at Saira Barbaric on Twitter. If you want to know more about the sexy stuff, follow me on Twitter. If you want to know more about just kind of my day-to-day life, art stuff, nerdy projects, follow me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm just writing this down, folks. Freaky Tales for You, so we can somehow load that onto our information. And Pink Label, I'm just writing stuff down, people.
Yes,
Pink Label TV.
Yes, and search for Scum Trust. We've got a Sunday hike up there, and we've got one of our dinner dates, which are domestic kink and food play centric short films.
Mm-hmm.
And that one,
I'm writing it down, folks. Say that one more time.
I said in the one that's I slap a white girl with a steak.
All day. All day. Saira, you are joy. You consistently are a joy. Just to talk to, and again, I thank you for always just being so open to just talk about information, and the knowledge that you have and the things that you do. We also strive for just have a deeper knowledge. Because you're not just walking into things saying, I just want to do this thing. You're literally like, I'm studying, I'm learning, and this is how I'm moving through the world. So I appreciate that. Folks, this is Black August. This is about Black Giving Month. Saira's Black Give. I'm just saying, Black Giving Month. We have a campaign out there for CD Forum, 828 fundraising campaign. You can find that on our Facebook events and also on our website. We just took on a youth curator. I keep saying coordinator. We have a new youth curator, a 19-year-old who we will be introducing very soon. I literally just walked out of a meeting with him right before this conversation. We're trying to raise some money to make sure that we secure some bags for the youth curator. We're trying to secure some bags for Saira and the other showing out artists and all the artists working with us this year. I want to bring Saira back. There you are. Saira, before the last question, you will have the final say so. Anything else you want to share with us before the final question?
Anything I want to share, to feel inspired to make erotic art, to make things that push the boundaries of what you think is sensual and exploratory. Do it. Like, we all have cameras in our pocket. Everyone can kind of take that journey with themselves. I think it is a deeply important journey of spiritual exploration and self-love. Take some fucking sexy selfies to like make imagery that worships your own genitals, like make art that like a temple, because it is.
Saira, you about to have everybody on their cell phones like really exploring now, like openly exploring. I love that. Like, take your cell phones out. Saira.
Yes, Saira.
Larissa is like, you and Larissa would have a great conversation. I'm just saying. Larissa's awesome. Larissa's my sister. They live in California. Y'all would have really great conversations. I'm just saying. Last question, your question. You have the final say so, and I'm gonna say bye after that because I just got my life. What is your joy, Saira?
What is my joy? My joy right now is definitely wrapped up in connection and yeah, because like I love finding people that want to investigate similar things, that want to find new paths to ideas, that are trying to question themselves, question their world. So yeah, connecting and investigating is definitely my joy.
I love that. On that note, we're out next week. We have Milvia I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope y'all got your life. Saira, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, everybody.
I will see you later.
Yes,
Bye,
bye.
everybody.